Good evening, everyone. My name is Arsh. I work at a company called Okteto. We do dev environments which run on Kubernetes. I'm also a CNCF ambassador, and this session is going to be about two topics which are very hot right now, and that is platform engineering and developer experience or development experience. I know it's coming to the close of the conference, so I want to keep this session engaging, and I know you all can't talk back to me. I won't hear you. So I'll ask you for a show of hands sometimes, and please, I'll be really happy if you can help me with that. Um, Moving to our first slide, how many people know what developer experience is? Can you raise your hands if you're familiar with this term, developer experience? Okay, 3 people, 3 friends, and 2 people I don't know. How many people know user experience? Yeah, okay, slightly more number of hands like UX. So user experience, for we know that is like when we use an application, be it Amazon, be it Twitter, whatever, the experience you have when using that app qualifies as user experience. Developer experience is kind of like that, but it refers to the experience developers in your company, developers in your organization have when they are developing applications or going through or deploying applications or basically doing the day-to-day. So it refers to their experience, and this is shaped by everything. This is shaped by what laptops you give them. This is shaped by what IDEs they might be using. This is shaped by what containerization or deployment technology you are using as an organization. And all of those things together make up the developer experience. So let's go back in time and see how things were to understand why platform engineering and developer experience are relevant today. Initially, you had developers who wrote code. Once they were done writing code, they would pass this code to testers. Then testers would test the application, and then they would pass it on to application builders who would build the application, and then it would get passed to a different team who would deploy this application. Everything was simple, and everyone had like clear stakeholders, right? Around this time, like after this, like containers started to become popular, and slowly DevOps started to come into picture. Everyone wanted to do DevOps. DevOps was the hot thing. But even today, like if I ask people what DevOps really is, people struggle to define it. Like, what is DevOps? You're using containers and you're using Kubernetes. Does that mean you're doing DevOps? If you have an Argo dashboard, does that mean you're doing DevOps? What really is DevOps? There's a very fuzzy definition, right? So DevOps basically referred to the breaking of this silo process which had happened. Like there were development silos and there was like operation and deployment silos, and kind of bringing them together and bridging that gap via CI/CD processes or adding automation. Basically, making these two teams talk to each other more often, and then containers came into the mixture, so things got blurry. What happened was developers were now tasked with writing, build code, which is like the Docker files needed to build those applications, and then hand them to the ops team who would deploy it, and then they would deploy into production, and infrastructure as code tools like Terraform would come into picture. And all that was fine, but developers were somehow doing more stuff. So their job title changed to DevOps engineer. They got better salaries. The management got to say that they're doing DevOps. So everyone was happy, except the experience was kind of broken because now people were doing a lot more things. They had a lot more cognitive load. And it was all building up to the frustration, which we are now starting to see. So before we talk about platform engineering, I want to talk about some of the things which DevOps did not do properly, which led to this rise of platform engineering and caring about developer experience. One was that there are just too many tools and too many processes, and it is becoming impossible for a single developer or a single DevOps engineer to keep up with all of the changing ecosystem. You cannot expect one person or a team of people to be able to, be up to date with all of the changes that are happening, and then also be able to know about the application, the product of the company. All of that becomes too much. Then the problem of environment creation became a thing because you now have these complex environments in production, but developers need access to staging environments and testing environments to see if their application is working properly or not. How do they get that, right? You can say that, hey, we have these Terraform scripts we are using to deploy to production. You use them, and you can deploy to staging. But then that involves developers having to learn Terraform and interacting with that, which adds to the first problem of just too many tools and keeping up with them. And lastly, it was not really like when you have like everything is like here and there and it's not organized, there's no one clear stakeholder, one responsible person. It becomes tough when you have to make sure that you are compliant with all the policies, all the security checks, which you have to do as an organization. So all of these problems, start to bubble up, and like in recent years, we start to see more and more organizations and companies acknowledging that these problems exist and something needs to be done about them. And this led to the rise of platform engineering. Fancy term for something which is a quite simple concept. And it is a concept, let me tell you. I know there's a lot of marketing gimmick around it where certain tools, certain companies are just selling themselves as like, we are platform engineering. No, platform engineering is basically a simple idea that just how your company has a product which it gives to its users, you have different teams in your company which treat internal services as products and give them to developers. So basically, you give developers an easy access via portals or via managed services so that they can do their day-to-day tasks without having to, learn all of these infrastructure as code tools or other rapid tools which keep coming up in the ecosystem. And the idea is that a platform team is responsible for maintaining their platform. So it becomes like a consolidated thing where you have a clear stakeholder with clear objectives, and that's how you do platform engineering on a really simple level. So platform engineering aims to solve some of the problems we discussed earlier. It aims to streamline all the processes, basically not have everyone do everything, instead have a fixed path for developers to take, which is laid out by the platform team. And it also aims to abstract a lot of the complexities of DevOps tools. So abstracting basically means like whatever's happening underneath. You may be using Terraform to deploy to staging, or you may be using ArgoCD to monitor. But there's an abstraction over top of it where the developer who's writing the day-to-day code, who's working on the application, they don't need to worry about that. They don't need Terraform on their local machine. You have that managed by running scripts in a pipeline or something like that. But you give them basically a platform, a portal, which makes their lives easy. And then templated environments is one of the promises of platform engineering, which I really like. And that means being able to easily spin up environments for development, for testing, and all of those things with just a click of a button. You have a template for how an environment should look like, and then every developer can replicate this. And this ensures consistency across the organization and makes sure that not everybody is doing their own thing, which can sometimes lead to security risks. And that is how platform engineering also helps organizations be more compliant with different policies. So sounds very interesting, right? Like sounds like the solution to all of our problems. But let's not do that. Let's not jump into the hype and just like we did with DevOps. We took like Docker and said like now we are doing DevOps. Let's not do that. Let's not pick a project or pick a tool and say that, yeah, we have implemented this tool, we have a portal, now we are doing platform engineering. It's not like that. If you really want to do effective platform engineering, you need to first care about the development experience in your organization, because they are really the two sides of the same coin. You need to understand the importance of developer experience, and you need to invest time in understanding how the developers in your organization feel before you go and create solutions for them. And that is how you can do effective platform engineering. So I work at my company. We work with a lot of companies who are trying to improve the development experience for their developers, and we provide them a platform. And I have learned three main things which are very important if you as an organization are trying to embrace platform engineering, and that's what I'm going to share. The first thing is, before you do anything, before you pick an open source project, before you pick a vendor, before you do anything, just please, please, please listen to your developers. Like, schedule calls with them, do a survey form, anonymous form, but please just listen to them, get their feedback. Don't try to solve problems when you don't understand them. Like, that only creates a mess where you try to force people to adopt something, and they won't. Developers don't. We only like to use something if it really benefits us, if it makes things easy for us. So the first step of this is really try to understand the problems of your developers before doing anything. The second biggest lesson is that if you build it, they will come does not work. Like, you cannot just go ahead and implement a service catalog like Backstage or something and expect all the developers on your team to, start using it. It does not work like that. Maybe your development experience is bad in your organization, but it's not bad because, a service catalog was needed or because people needed consolidated information. Maybe it was because people did not want to learn Kubernetes or did not want to learn Docker, and they needed an abstraction over that, and some other tool might be beneficial for you. So before you go ahead and build it, just don't assume that once we build this, it will start seeing usage. And it is very important to monitor usage of your internal developer platform once you provide it, because if you don't do that, you really are just doing things for the sake of doing things, which is not good, guys. The last thing is that building always isn't the best option either. I have heard a lot of horror stories where companies and as engineers, we get excited to build things, right? Like, okay, there's a problem, the DevX is bad, let's build a solution, let's build our own portal, and we will fix this. What if something is already built? Why not leverage that? There might be an open source project, there might be a company which provides these solutions. Try to look into that and see if that fits in with your need, because the biggest problem is not building, it's maintaining. So this is the actual story. We had one of our customers who built this really cool portal, and everything was all fine and cool with this 3-people team, solved the entire DevX, and they were proud of themselves. Until those 3 people left to join another company, and suddenly this company had this portal which was seeing usage also, but they did not know how to maintain it or how to iterate on it or do all of that stuff. So just think what you want out of your portal IDP which you're providing, and evaluate if building is the right decision for you, or if it's better to leverage an open source project or something which the community already has. So these were the tips I had for you. And with these, I wish you luck on your platform engineering journey. And I use the word journey here very intentionally because it is not a one-stop process. You just don't do platform engineering. It's a continuous process where you create something, you get feedback, you iterate on it, and that is how you improve the development experience in your organization. Thank you for attending this session, and if you liked this session or did not like it, please scan this QR code, and I would love some of your feedback. Out of all the people who scan this, we'll do a random raffle, and we'll send a gift card for any one winner, and we'll announce that all over email. But yeah, please give me some feedback if possible, and I hope this session was useful for you, and thank you for listening.